Hey everybody, welcome back to Crazy Dave's Crew. I'm Laura and you're watching Thursday Threads. First of all, I'm sorry we haven't been putting up more tutorials lately. Unfortunately, we had some of the sickness that's been going around and it kind of slowly went through the house, through one person, then the next. No, my family can't get it all over with at once. No, we gotta share the wealth over and over. But I think we're getting better and I'm excited to share this with you. I'm doing a little bit more experimenting with jelly roll strips, and I can't wait to show you what I've come up with. Been a lot of fun, so don't go away. So I'm having a lot of fun with some jelly strips, jelly rolls. These are from Joann's. Now there's only 20 strips to them, but all I'm going to do here, I'm going to open one up. Let's take a look at some of the variety. There are 10 different fabrics, and there's 2 strips of each fabric. They are 2.5 inches wide. Now, there is something very interesting about the Joann's jelly roll strips. You're going to notice that they're pinked. We've got a pinking on the sides, and that's going to present something interesting. So we want to make sure we understand what's going on. So I'm going to show you my 2.5 inch ruler. I love this. This is awesome. So easy to use. Let's turn this one over. Okay. And if you look, you're going to see that it's not quite, it's just a smidge over 2.5. Let's pull this up nice and, okay. So you can see just a little bit here at the top and just a little bit here at the bottom. So you want to, and I don't care where you get it from, you're going to want to double check your pre-cuts. So what this is telling me is that if I want to have a nice standard size, I don't want to start my 1/4 inch seam from the top of the pinking. I'm going to want to start it from the valley of the pinking. Right, so do this a couple different ways. You could take a air-soluble marker and just kind of mark on here where you need to start your 1/4 inch seam, or eyeball it. Or just try to remember that. Use the valley of the pinking as your guide. Okay? So what we're going to do, first of all, we are going to kind of separate these out and make a decision over, how we're going to do this. We need to press the pieces. Okay? So I have some cute paw prints, we have some bones, and it is entirely up to you how you do it. But I'm going to show you how I do it. Okay. So I'm going to put these two together. We're going to set these aside. I think that one, and that one. That one, maybe that one. Okay? So, alright. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do some strip quilting with our strip sewing. So I'm going to take this one and I am going to match it up with this one. Okay, and I'm just going to sew them right sides to right side. Let's see, I think this one and this one. Sew them right side to right side. And you're just going to go through that. Now on these, so that right there takes care of 4 of our strips. Then I think I'm going to match this one with this one. Sew it together right side to right side. And this one. And then these are going to go together. These are going to go together. And then, so we have 4, 8, 9, 10. Okay? So I am taking my 2 paisley, and I really love these. These are so cute. You can look in here. It's not just paisleys. You're going to see a little paw prints in there, and I just think that's adorable. So I have got this pinned and matched up together, and I'm going to come over to the sewing machine. I'm going to sew down the strip. Easy peasy. But I really want to make sure you guys see how I do this. Okay? I always pin. You know, you guys know that. I pin. Because I really don't want my fabric slipping. So I'm going to line that up and I'm going to pin it. And I don't care where you get your pre-cuts from. It can be from an individual on eBay or Craftsy or Etsy or wherever. Or it can be from a shop. I always double check. That way I know where do I start my guide for my seam allowance. Remember, whatever seam you use to begin with, that's the one you want to finish up with. So let's go to the sewing machine, and I want to show you kind of where I'm going to go on this to get my seam. So come on. Now, I really like my piecing foot, which is right there. Now, if I went right here using the top of the little Pinking Shears Mountain, I'm not going to have, it's not, and if I do that on both sides, it's not going to be accurate. So what I want to do, I want to kind of look and see where is the valley between each of these little mountains. So I'm going to kind of bring that over. You'll see kind of where that's at. Okay. I'm going to do everything I can to keep this side, my guide, right along the valley. Now, let's see what we can do here. Just remember, it's not a race. Take your time. I would much rather take my time and have it take me a little bit longer than have to sit and do a whole lot of ripping. Okay. I'm having to adjust a little bit. All right. I think y'all see the gist of that. So let's finish this up and I'll show you the next step. So I have sewn down, I have pressed it, and I have pressed it toward the dark side. Now, so each strip is 2.5 inches. Well, 2.5 plus 2.5 is 5. And then there's a 1/4 inch seam from the blue. So that's 4 3/4. Then a 1/4 inch seam from the red. So that makes it 4.5. So I want to cut 4.5 inch lengths. And I'm weird. I always like to just, kind of trim that top just a little bit. Now, I love this. Guys, I cannot tell you what a game changer this has been for me. Alright, so, and you can see on here we've got all these little grids. It makes it really nice. I want to find, it doesn't matter which one you use, but I'm going to take this straight up and down right here, and I'm going to put it on the seam. I'm just going to take me a little bit off the top so I don't have any of the selvage. That's just me being silly, I guess, but it's what I do. Now I want this to be 4.5 inches, right? So this would be 6.5. That would be 6. And there's the 5.5 right here. This is the 5. 4 3/4. 4.5. All right. Set that aside. Let's do another one. Again, I like to make sure this is on the seam because that's going to keep me straight. And making sure I've got a good, accurate cut. Nice and straight. I'm not going to be all scatty-wad, you know. They put all these lines on here for a reason, and that is to help you make sure you get good cuts. And I'm just going to do that all the way down on all of my strips. Now, very important step, and I cannot stress this enough. A very important step, you need to square it up. And if we start with this one being squared, we're going to be good. Well, we know, again, let's go back to our math, these were 2.5 inches. It's a total of 4.5. These are sewn together. So that means from this seam to here is going to be 2.25. From this seam to this edge is going to be 2.25. So let's just take the guesswork out. So I'm going to use, so this is like 1, 2.5 inch. Again, there's my 1/4 inch. We've got all these lines on here, and they're here for a reason. So I'm going to line the 1/4 inch right here along the seam. And there is just a little bit here along the side, but I am going to trim that off. I'm going to use my rotary cutter, okay? And I really like this one. It's got a nice safety. Unless I'm hanging on to it and squeezing it, it's not going to cut me. Okay? I said, not much came off there. Let's do the other side. Lining up a 1/4 inch right on the seam. Okay. Again, not a whole lot, but I feel better when I do that. And I want to do that on all of my strips that I have cut. So let's do that. And then I'll show you what I do next. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to choose, let's see, I think that way. And then I'm going to sew those together. And then I'm going to sew 2 more together. So let me show you. I've already done these. Okay. I don't want to do that. I want to do this. Okay. How easy is that? 2 strips sewn together, sewing them onto 2 more strips. Let's press these and let's sew these together. Now, I am going to press them in a special way. This is just my thing. But if you notice, we've got a seam right here. I really don't want to do that because that's going to kind of bulk that up right there. So what I want to do is bring it towards this side. So I'm going to set my seam right there. Open it up. Okay. Now this is going this way, so I don't have as much bulk. Let's do the same thing to this one. Again, I want to set it, I want to bring it towards the side that doesn't have as much seams. And that's just me. You don't have to, but that's just me. And I always like to do it the same way because we're about to match up a seam. That's not right. This way. Right? So, I want to be like this. Make sure that you nest those seams. Okay? This one's going this way, that one's going this way. And we just want this to be nice and flat. It fit together beautifully, just like a little jigsaw puzzle. Okay? And when you open it, you can look to see, if you don't, slide the fabric, that should be a really good matchup. And again, I pin on both sides of the seam that I am matching. Because if you slip it either direction, it's going to be off. And I'm going to pin that there. And I'm going to pin right here. Alright, let's sew this down. Nice and slow over where I've got my pins there at the seam. And I'm going to slowly move them down just a little so they're out of the reach of my needle. Okay. Alright, now we're going to press this open. Let's take a look. And this time it really doesn't matter which way you go, so just pick a side. And again, I like to set my seam. I'm just going to roll it and lightly over. And then you're going to end up with a number of these. So there we have that. That becomes this. Or this. Or this. And those are all with the one set of 4. These are the other 4. Ta-da! I was afraid if I put these blocks together that it was just going to be way too busy and, like make you go blind. So I did decide to find some, not plain colors per se, but not quite as designed and ornamental. Now, so I'll put these all together, and then I'll put these together, and these will be fit in with here. But then I also went through my my stash, and I found some really neat fabric that I could use. So here's my block that I made with the 2-inch strips from the Jelly Roll. By the way, always look for coupons. Okay, don't forget. Now you can create your own 2.5-inch strips, but I did decide to go with pre-cut. Okay, so I've got this block. This block was from my stash. I had purchased this fabric from the remnant section. And then I've got another one of my blocks. And that's just the start. And then you decide how big you want it. Decide if you want to do the big plain blocks. or if you just want them to be from the strips, it's up to you. You lay it out, you see what it looks like, you see if you like it. I'm probably not going to use as many of these. Okay, they'll just be interspersed a bit. So maybe like that. Well, I hope you have enjoyed my experiments with the jelly rolls. Be on the lookout for our Facebook group. I'll try to get a picture made up of this when I have it completed. It is Sewing and Crocheting for Beginners. We'll make sure there's a link down in the description. And I have just had a lot of fun experimenting with the strips, seeing what designs I can come up with. I hope you've had fun with it. I hope you try something. Send us pictures. We love pictures. So, we will see you next time on Thursday Threads. Thanks for joining us.